It's season 7 of the 15-ish minute coffee chat with Anna and Selena. Selena is the owner of Howley Socially Inspired. She's our Hawaiian rock star who loves all things tech and says coffee is her love language. Anna owns Nomadabout. She's the adventure-seeking copywriter who loves a good road trip and has a passion for supporting military spouses and entrepreneurs. Join Anna and Selena weekly to listen in on hot topics that will build your brand, keep you current with best practices, and help you grow as a business owner or entrepreneur.
Happy Tuesday! Business leaders are using neuroscience to better understand customers and employees. By being more mindful of change and opportunity, and with a better understanding of your business audience, small business owners and entrepreneurs can make strategic decisions with confidence. Learn more about understanding and embracing change, brain power, and being intentional when making business decisions with our guest today, Tara Collison, Ph.D., and PCC, founder and principal of Meddlers, during today's 15-ish minute coffee chat.
Yay, I am so excited for today's guest for many, many, many reasons.
Right? Me too.
So, good morning.
Good morning, Milani.
Here's our call to action question we love to ask, and we want everybody to jump in when they get a moment. But what gives you the green light when making strategic business decisions?
Yeah. So we were talking behind the scenes with Tara before we started the show, just how neuroscience has kind of become this big thing right now and is kind of a buzzword. But, you know, anyway, I'm so excited for her to share like kind of her take on how she uses it within her executive coaching business and what she does with clients and just kind of daily life and how frequently we're doing this without knowing we're doing it, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Can I say how we know her? Like, can I say why I'm so excited about today?
Yes.
Okay, so Anna, went through a program called ACP, which I am also in, and she met this amazing person that mentored her. And every time they would finish the session, Anna would call me, we would have a discussion, and she's like, this woman is so brilliant and is like,
yes,
all the things. And so then I would be waiting for my session when they were done, and Anna would call me and we would discuss. And so I was telling Tara when she came on, I'm like, oh, I feel like I know you, but I realize we don't know each other. You know what I mean? Like, she knows me because in a mentoring way, right? I'm like a person that should say, well, what about this? And what about that? And what are you going to do with her? And, you know, all the things. And so I'm just excited. She's wonderful, and we've only chatted for 15 minutes, so I can see why Anna is a little obsessed with her in a positive, non-stalking type of way, guys.
Thank you for caveating that. Definitely, there's no stalking going on here. Although I will say, I am excited to delve a little bit. I mean, we focus strongly on my small business and kind of what direction I was going, but I'm really excited to hear more about what she does.
Yeah.
And how she uses it in her business. I mean, she's super successful and just, anyway, she's all the things. So
she's our goals, right?
We need to just bring her on. We're just going to chatter about her forever.
Let's show her bio first before we get there, right? So this is the wonderful woman that is coming here in a moment. Anna is going to read her bio because, like, you need to know how phenomenal this person is. So go rock it, Anna.
All right. So as we mentioned, Tara is the founder and principal of Meddlers, which, by the way, I absolutely love that company name. Like, how fun is that, right?
Yeah.
So Meddlers offers coaching, team building, and consulting and assessment and discovery services to individuals, teams, and businesses. Tara blends her 2 decades of experience working in the Fortune 50 and her training as a psychologist to accelerate results for her clients. She's the chief meddler, which I love.
Love that.
And she embraces the power of neuroscience and the complexity of human behavior to influence change. Equally important, Tara brings fierce creativity to every endeavor and cares deeply for those around her, which is why she's as passionate about your success as you are.
You guys see, I mean, like, just the bio alone, you know?
I know, right?
I'm going to remove this, and I think it's just time, right? Should we bring her in?
I'm going to bring her in right now.
Let's do it. Okay. Let's do it. Yay!
Hello, ladies. So nice to see you and be here with you. And Wow, if I just needed to feel so fantastic this morning. Thank you both. That was beautiful, and I really appreciate it. This is why I do the work that I do, and so what a great reminder. So thank you both.
You are like we said earlier, it's like meeting the CEO at the water cooler, and that's what Tara is for me today. Also you're a psychologist, and my sister is in there. I have a bunch of other great friends that are in that, and so I'm always joking, like, are they analyzing me like
No.
during every like my brother-in-law has a degree, and I used to say to him at the dinners with our big family, like, can you just enjoy this dinner without like realizing the dysfunction that's going on? So anyway.
Yes.
Welcome. We are going to, let's just dive in, and I'm going to just kind of we're going to shift some circles around here. Yes. But Anna, shall we do our coffee cup selfie, guys?
Yes, we need to start with our coffee cup selfie. So yeah. So, okay.
I have two, in all fairness. I have two.
I might
just go with the one.
I mean, like, if you want, I'll pull my water and we can double it. Yeah, there we go. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. See, we did it. Oh,
I love it. Everybody has two. See, I'm not alone.
You're not alone. Definitely not.
It's a double fist in it kind of day, right?
It is. It is. Okay, should we just dive in, because we know we only have so much time with this wonderful person.
Yes.
And so let's do it, Anna.
I definitely do. So the very first question we have, I mean, it's kind of like the foundation, right? Mm-hmm. And so Tara, can you tell us about your work with neuroscience and how you use it to support your business clients as an executive coach?
Yeah, so I love that you brought up what we were talking about before I came up onto the stage, or before we started the chat, because neuroscience has become this like big word, and we have wonderful neuroscientists out there all around the world researching how the brain works. And the technology in the last 15 to 20 years has really accelerated. So we can learn a bunch of things that we didn't know back in the day when I got my PhD. Just a little while ago now. And so what I love about that, and I am not a clinical psychologist, the psychology that I studied is of the adult brain, how we learn, how we change, how we grow. So what does that look like? Because for me, psychology is about putting it into action every day. A lot of people end up using psychology every single day, pretty much every human being. And what I try to do is help leaders understand what we're doing consciously and unconsciously to unlock their performance. And we do that through understanding what's really happening in the mind, what's really happening in the brain. What do we know about how we can create change for ourselves? What do we know about high performance? What do we know about deepening our understanding of what's happening around us, what's happening for other people, and what's happening for us? And so by combining all of those things, I can help people deconstruct what they're experiencing on a day-to-day basis, and then reconstruct a new picture of what they want to create instead. And so it's really focused on understanding, where are you today? Where do you want to go? And how do we build a bridge that allows you to use the power of your own mind to get there?
My God.
I know you must have had so many moments of watching people's light bulbs turn on during your time together.
Things. It is. That is so true. Yes, I do. I love that.
Your description is largely focused on self, right? Like you're working with the executive to kind of come to a realization about themselves. Like, but do you see, because like in my head, I envision a lot of people as CEOs are trying to influence others. So they think it's about changing them as opposed to changing themselves. So is that really kind of what that neuroscience thing kind of starts to talk about, where it's not about them, it's really more about you?
Well, yes. And that's my focus and my practice. That's how I use it, is helping them understand what is their role in a particular situation, whether it's a team dynamics, they are trying to influence someone, they are trying to create something for their business. And it is about others as well, because everything is a system. We're always interacting with the people around us. We have a set of needs that we're trying to get met. Other people have a set of needs that they're trying to get met. And most conflict and disruption comes out of different perspectives about the goal and where we're going, or different perspectives on how to get there. We might agree on the goal, but have different ways of getting there. And so, yes, I focus on what we can control for ourselves, but it very often results in trying to have a conversation about, well, what's really going on for the other person? How do you deepen your understanding of what's going on? And I do have some clients with whom I work to do conflict resolution type things, where we're really trying to unpack what's happening amongst a team or amongst a set of individuals.
So I have one more question, just kind of, I'm so curious about this, right? So do you find that certain personality types tend to have the same, I guess, process that they go through to reach those end goals? Like if you're an A-type personality, you see the same kinds of things happening over and over and over again with these types of personalities.
Yeah. There are sort of personality characteristics that are maybe highly correlated or frequently have the same kinds of blind spots, right? So if you're somebody, I'll use your example of a type A personality. If you're a type A personality and you're a go type person, you might be impulsive in certain situations, right? Or you might act before you think through all the consequences. So unintended consequences and dealing with collateral damage, if you will, right, in an interpersonal way, might be something that you frequently find yourself in. So what I might work on with an executive who has that kind of profile is how is that serving you? And how is it not serving you? So first we deconstruct, because sometimes it's a good thing to act fast, deal with the collateral damage after. And then there are times when doing it that way is not serving the outcome and it's not serving the people around them. And then how do we then create space to do a little bit of intentionality and thinking before they take action? And that is where the neuroscience comes in, because deconstructing that and creating new habits means unleashing and letting go of some of the habitual things that we do without consciously thinking about it, and replacing it with new behaviors, right? And then that's a real individual level use of neuroscience.
So this just makes me go, gosh, when we were having our mentoring session, you were like, I know what she's doing right now. Like, I recognize this conversation, right? You asking me questions that really made me stop, backpedal, and think through what the decisions that I had made as an entrepreneur. And this is fascinating to me. Like, I had no idea that's what was happening, but
yeah. And that's why neuroscience is such a it's a kind of a buzzword almost right now, because it's a deeper understanding of how our mind works. And that's just one aspect of it. What we're finding out is you've got to think about, if you really want to drive high performance, you have to think about all the different ways that our total person comes to bear in order to create high performance. And that goes to sleep rhythms and making sure you're getting the right level of recovery, making sure you have the right amount of physical experience in your life, whether that's exercise, meditation, silencing your mind so that you have space to think. There's a whole unlimited set of things that we can be doing to elevate our performance. And so that's also another really important thing that neuroscience has given us, is an understanding that it's not just about our mind, it's about our entire body. It's about our entire presence, which is a gift as well, because it's hard to slow down and take some time for yourself. And
and just to remember the interconnectedness, like you said, all those systems that are working together ultimately to create that thing or that space that you want as a professional.
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to move into our second question. I mean, I know I asked you like 17 questions.
That's okay. I love it.
But I'm really curious now, like, so you take those ideas that we just talked about. How do you apply that to a small business owner that maybe only has 1 or 2 employees, or an entrepreneur that is a solo employee? How does that fit within our construct?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is my world too, right? Like I have a small business with just a few team members that I get to work with. I'm so fortunate to work with. And really many, many different ways. So the two things that come to mind most when I hear you ask that question are, first, what am I doing to be intentional and focused in my business, right? Do I know where I'm going directionally? Right. And can I articulate that with enough clarity to be able to understand what I do want to be spending time and energy on and what I don't want to be spending time and energy on? So focus is the first thing, and getting really, really clear. It does not have to be, I have some 5-year strategic plan and I'm going to get to XYZ in 5 years. But I need to know if I'm going to go up that mountain over there or that mountain over there. Which hill am I trying to take? Where am I going right now? So what's my direction? And what does that mean in terms of the things I should be spending time and energy on and shouldn't spend time and energy on? And that's the big picture horizon. So that's one thing that I always say, like, let's get really clear about that. Then the second thing is going all the way down. How do I take that thing and make it all the way as small as possible to be able to focus on today or this week or this month? So take that big directionality and shrink it down to the smallest actions I need to take right now. And that includes being really intentional about where I'm spending my time, where I'm putting my energy, what I might need to do different in terms of putting together new habit structures and new time management structures in order to feed the goal that I have and where I'm going, so that I don't become exhausted. Because what happens, I see a lot with small business owners and entrepreneurs, is that we think we have to do everything all the time. It's like boiling the ocean. And what I try to help leaders do is see that no, focus is actually quite better. And if we have a good sense of the horizon and we can deconstruct it for today, that's how we create sanity in our lives, and maybe a little bit of space for some things outside the work, right? Because we know it's all consuming when we're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Can I just say, like, my favorite part was just, like, we always face the being overwhelmed in our businesses, right?
Yes.
But it was when you said, like, go from, like, 1 month to 1 week to 1 day to kind of help that, like, that feeling of anxiety you get when you're feeling like you have so much to do, but so little time. And
that's right.
So that it stops you, like it stops the performance that you want to propel forward. Right. So
that's right.
Maybe start small so you can get to that week plan out, that month plan out. I mean,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that was probably my favorite part. I mean, we had a bunch of comments come in while you were speaking. So I loved that it's like resonating with what you're saying, like being intentional.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, like the very beginning part where you talked about which mountain am I going to climb? And I think that's the hard part for me, because there are like 4 things I really love to do, right? But they don't necessarily mesh together into one, nice, neat little package.
They're not on the same mountain or hill.
They're not the same mountain. There's 4 different mountains. And I'm like, today I want to do that, and tomorrow that. But then I only make it so far up, I'm not able to really focus on that one thing. So, I mean, is there like a formula that you use or a strategy to help people understand, like, this is your real mountain? This is the one you really want.
Well, sometimes it's about picking a mountain, and sometimes it's getting creative about architecting something you want. Maybe you don't have a mountain. Maybe you have a tree house that has bridges that go from mountaintop to mountaintop to mountaintop.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
It's not about restriction. It is about a clear picture of your future.
Oh,
right.
Man.
And Anna, maybe yours is like I said, bridges. And it's one of those like really cool tree houses. Yes, with zip lines. Now, we probably have to pick a mountain to go up to create the zip line to the next one.
Yeah.
But what's the image of that future? And then deconstruct and pick the one you're going to go up first, right? And that's what I work with people to do is, what's that picture? And then once you have the picture, what's the path to get there? Right. And also carry your zip line with you, because you're going to have to build it once you get up to the top.
Oh my God. I love that you are like, you don't have to choose per se. You can just find the one that like gets you to the others.
That's
right. Like,
That's right.
yes.
Zip lines. Yes. Let's
You
go
are
zip
totally
lines.
like spoke Anna's language. She is a tree house. Like that is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and
A
I
tree
love
house with
that.
multiple zip lines. That's But you know
That's
what
right.
you did is you took what I had put into a limiting space and just expanded it right back out into something that now functions for me, where I can now see a way forward, which, I mean, right here, you did it again, Tara.
That's what I love to do.
Yeah.
That's what I love to do. And that's why you need the creativity, because it's not
Yeah.
just following a recipe, but what we need to do. Sometimes it is the mountain of the hour. I totally agree with that. Absolutely. Sometimes, and sometimes you're on a journey. This is the other thing that we don't talk about very much. Is like, sometimes you're on a journey and life gets in the way.
Yeah.
And so then how do you restart when it's time to restart? Because sometimes life does get in the way, and that's okay. And we have to give ourselves compassion and grace in those moments, and then restart when it's time to restart. And that's how I like to use all the tools of neuroscience, because there's lots and lots of them out there that we get to use to both create change, envision a future, but also restart when life gets in the way. That's what happens.
Can I ask just one totally like off the script question here?
Course. Yeah.
So I am actually, I mean, and I think, we're in the military community, a lot of military, we're so used to change, but there's also those people that are so not scared of change, but it just halts and pauses them because they don't like change. Like what do you say to somebody that wants it, but that having to change is really blocking the progress? Like, what is it?
Yeah, it's such an important question. And here's the real secret. None of us really likes change. We do get used to it over time. And the thing that I always like to work on with people there are people who struggle more with it. It's a bigger thing for them. It's harder for them to tackle, right? And we all have that certain kind of change that's more difficult for us than it is for the person sitting next to us. And so I always like to, let's slow way back down to what is that change representing for you, and understanding what that change represents, because it's usually not the change itself, it's what the change represents. That is the place to start. And if we can start understanding what it represents for someone, then we can start looking at what are all the ways that we can then embrace the pieces of it that might actually help you move through that thing, whatever that thing is. So obviously in the military community, there is a lot of moving. And so sometimes change represents a starting over and a feeling of going backwards, even though we know we're going forward, and we know we need to, and we know it serves our career or our spouse's career, depending on where we sit in the family dynamic and if we're the service member or not. And we also know it represents some level of loss, and we process loss 5x or more than we process gain. That's something we know from neuroscience. So if we can understand what it is we're worried about losing, then we can start embracing the positivity of what the change might represent. And it means we navigate the change a little bit differently. But that's where I would start in helping people work through that.
Like that's where I was with that. Yeah. No, I love it.
I do find it interesting that we process loss so much deeper and so much more than gain. And that's why it hits so hard, and setbacks can be so devastating. And I think I'll call them failures, but failures in business or as a small business owner, things that don't go right can be so derailing as you're trying to climb that mountain, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. And the faster we can recover and turn it into a lesson, or understand what we really do feel like we're losing, so that we can then turn it into a gain, the faster we can start making that shift. So get the flywheel going in a positive direction, the more we're able to take advantage of whatever opportunities are in front of us, right? So being able to feel the loss, let the emotion go, because that loss is real, or the failure is real. Let all those emotions be processed, so that then we can move into the good part. The juicy stuff comes after the lesson or the gain or the new opportunity or whatever comes after. So let's move through the hard part so we can get to the juicy part.
Gosh, so good.
I know.
I could just sit here and Just listen. Just continue listening.
I know, right?
Like, this is like the perfect person to have the water cooler today, you know?
No. So we do have one more question. I can't believe we're already at the end.
I know.
It's gone so fast. It's been fun, though.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah. Can I just tell everyone that this is Tara's first live stream? So I'm super excited that she's on here with us today.
I am. I know. It's very exciting.
You're such a genius. You should be doing them more.
I know. I told her that, right?
Yeah. Well, you know.
Okay. So we do have one last question for you, which is really how do we take, what do you recommend is like that one thing if we're going to invest in kind of following this advice and this directional information you've given us today and kind of like really exploring our potential as humans, as opposed in business leaders and all of that. What's the one thing you would recommend to invest in that?
Can I say two?
Yes.
Because the first is make time for yourself. That you have to prioritize yourself. It is so hard. And I know as entrepreneurs, we are so driven by our vision of the thing that we're working to create in the world and all of the other things that are happening in our lives that it's very difficult to do. But even if it is 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes a day, make time for yourself. And that the second thing, the practice that I would encourage everyone to try to embed in their lives as much as possible is intentionality. What is it I'm trying to do here in this moment with this conversation, with this meeting that I'm about to have, with this conversation I'm going to have with my spouse or my children? What's my intention and what's the other person's intention? And if you can't answer that other question, then you better be asking a question. Right? So intentionality and taking time for yourself. Those would be my two things.
Yeah.
I love that your intentionality isn't just about your intention, but if it's affecting another human being or someone else in your space, that you really have to know what's their intention.
Yeah.
That's really that is good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I mean, very, very good.
My word doesn't really reflect what I'm feeling. I
gotcha.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So if anybody's, if you're listening live or on the replay, I'd love for you to just like tell us in the comments, or, if you're listening on the podcast on Spotify, we're going to label this as a question, but are you intentional, and are you we want to know, are you actually doing that? And do you take time for yourself? I'm curious.
I'm even more than, are you intentional, but do you know what your intention is?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
That's the question. Like, I think I might be being intentional, but I don't know that I've ever stopped and said, what's my intention in doing this?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's rare that I stop and ask myself that one specific question, which is kind of, in my opinion, just a slight change to somebody saying, yeah, I'm intentional. I did this on purpose.
No.
Yeah.
So
because you could be doing it with a lot of, like, you can get the same thing done, but if you're intentional about it, you want to do it in a certain way. And then it lets us embody that. Right.
Yeah. And I'm sure understanding the other people that are being affected will help you determine then what's the best way to do that.
That's right.
Oh, man. So good.
I know. This makes me want to start studying neuroscience.
No, I just want to continue these conversations. I want to be like, hey, you want to come back next week? And let's talk about this topic. You know what I mean?
Mentorship we finished.
Yes, we can definitely pick all that up. And I always like to say my ACP mentees, I think I've had like 6 or something like that so far. So I like to collect them and keep them and nurture those relationships, because I often learn at least as much, if not more, as I have with Anna. You have really pushed me. Like, I made videos last year because of you. So,
Yay.
and I'm here now because of you. So
Yeah,
yeah,
love
so you're
it.
definitely stretching me.
I love it. You need
Much
to have a
to
retreat.
I have a wonderful social team
Yeah.
at the firm's called Cosmeto, and Nikki and Emily are amazing, and I absolutely love them. And they have a big debt to pay to you because I finally on video and doing like anything video oriented.
They're like, finally, we have
Yes,
this. Finally.
Exactly.
No, Tara, I think you should have like a retreat with all your ACP mentees. Like you guys should all get together. I'm telling you.
I love it. That's a very idea.
It could be, and then like all the shirts can just say like "We love Tara." Like, you know what I mean? That's what it's about. Like, that's
It'll
what
be
we're
like the one big thing we learned from her, right?
Yeah,
right.
There we go.
I
Oh
love
my
it.
gosh. All right. Okay. Look, I'm going to bring this up here because I know this is the part we're at, but obviously some of you should continue seeing what more amazing things that this human above us has.
Yes.
Tara, tell everybody where they can find you. I mean,
I'm
hard.
on all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
So the prime place that I do a lot of posting, I write a couple blogs each month, is on my website, meddlers.com, and there's a resources page there. I'm also on Instagram and LinkedIn, of course. Facebook a little less so, but I do have a Facebook page as well. But like Instagram and LinkedIn, if you want to follow me on a regular basis, I'm posting there quite a bit. And then, of course, on meddlers.com, you can get all of the history of the blogs and things that I write about whatever's on my mind right now.
Yeah. There's no excuse not to find her. She's made it so easy.
Yeah. So easy.
Just type in her name. If you forgot all the handles, you just type it in, you know,
Yes.
And I'm sure it'll lead you.
Yes.
The life of Google.
Exactly.
Okay. So please connect with Tara there. We're briefly going to tell you about this because I'm going to actually, we heard a little birdie say something to us today, but download our toolkit. It's the first of the year, so why not have some affirmations to get you through? Anna and I got together. We came up with some affirmations and a Spotify playlist to get you through the entrepreneurial day. It's included in there and it's free. You just have to give us your email. That's it. But okay, look, Tara.
Yes.
Has something possibly in the works. I have no idea. I'm just going to have you. Yeah.
I do. So I feel like 2022, one of my intentions for 2022 is figure out how I can give some of what I understand to people to consume offline. You don't need to be in a coaching session with me. You don't have to have a specific engagement with meddlers. But how can I do that in a way that goes beyond a blog post? And so what I have done is put together a program that is meant to help you define your mountain, right? Or treehouse, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then create a bit of a toolbox, the toolbox of change. I call it the tools of change for creating that, because it has to happen in the little tiny small moments of our life, because we don't have time to change our career and our home and our life and go off on that retreat that's going to solve everything. Nobody has that time. But what we do have is the small moments in our daily life that if we can create a little bit of a momentum towards that change we're looking to create, then we can create it. That's how real sustainable change happens. And so I'm calling it the tools of change for lack of a better terminology, but I'll be announcing it on all of those sites next week on Wednesday, February 2nd, and launching it at the beginning of March. So I'm really looking forward to it.
So you guys, a toolkit is coming very quickly next week. So you need to, or in the next couple of weeks, you need to make sure you're following and you're going to, I mean, why not? Why not? Right.
Yes.
So
why not? Man, if it's anything like just our 30-minute conversation today, like this is the kind of stuff where I just feel so inspired. I think that's one of the things that Selena always got from me when I'd call her after our sessions, Tara. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm so inspired. You're not going to believe what we talked about today."
I love it. That's
today I feel like that. Like I feel like I'm like refocused. Now I'm like, I gotta figure out my treehouse mountain zip line.
Oh yeah.
Again, like
my gosh.
2022, you know?
Yes, that's right.
I love it so much. Anna, share today's tip jar.
Yes. So we just want to thank Caitlin Eldridge from Eldridge CPA. So the tip today, if you have contractors, 1099 NECs are due on 1/31. This replaces the 1099 miscellaneous or MISC. I think it stands for miscellaneous. I don't really know. But
we're not tax people.
Yeah, we're not tax people, but your CPA doesn't automatically do this for you, by the way. Yes. So if you are using contractors, you need to make sure you are getting it done. Okay. Yeah. That's our tip.
That's our tip. Get it. And me and Anna know this too. And Tara, we were talking about this earlier. We're all in the throes of it. So
all in the throes of it. That's right.
Get her done. All right, Anna.
Okay, so next week, we had to cancel last week due to some unforeseen circumstances. So we are going to close out season 7 with last week's guest happening next week on February 1st, 10 o'clock a.m. We're going to be having Yvonne Coombs on. Sorry, Yvonne Coombs, who is the co-founder of Operation Deploy Your Dress, which if you haven't heard of, it's a military-based organization where you donate old ball gowns and then she for free
she redeploys them.
What? I love it.
Yes. Oh yeah, she is the most. I love Yvonne, and she's like one of the most like you just meet her and you're just in like she is she's a sun walking on this planet. Like literally, she's amazing, and all the things she does. And she also was or is the current Army Spouse of the Year with I mean, there's a lot of things this woman does, and you know, it's craziness. But okay, hey.
Well, we're going to be focusing on just like her experience starting in her garage, and now she's in 12 locations around the United States and maybe internationally. I don't know.
Yeah, she's in Japan and Germany now. I believe they just opened up, or at least Germany. I think they just opened up their location in Germany, and that's like huge. So kudos to the whole Operation Deploy Your Dress team because so anyway, business
so join
growth.
us next week for our very last show. And then as always, you can find us on AnnaandSelena.com. Connect with us on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook. Find us on your favorite podcast platform. I mean, there's all the things, right? We play it every single week. Hopefully by now you're connecting with us in some way, right?
All the things. So you guys, thanks so much. Tara, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's been really fun.
Yes.
Fun.
You're welcome to come back anytime. You just let us know.
I will take you up on that. That sounds like a plan.
All right. All right, everyone. Thank you. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.